Good day, everyone. My name is Bemiga Olamikon, and you are on to GTV Africa. Some months ago, precisely 101 or 100 days, I came here to talk to you about a man, the new man that just started pushing the leadership of ANAN. I promised that I'll be back to let you know much about what he's doing. Today with me, I have some other colleague in the house to find out from him what has he done within 100 days. You know, everyone always likes to check, what have I done within 100 days? But today with me, I have my colleague in the house to do justice to what is expected to be done. Ima Elimeke is in the house with me, my colleague in the Vanguard paper. And I have a lady in the house, Grace. But let me not waste your time. Let me bring everyone is expected to hear from him after 100 days. Reverend. Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to this forum.
See you, sir. Go a lot over the world. Follow the live streaming from GTV Africa, where you are crowned of ANAN. Shortly, a day or two after that, we came down here to find out what you intend to do. You are really doing or not, but I'm not going to say that. In your own office, what?
Well, thank you. You know, it has become to look at the performance of a chief executive after the first 100 days in it's not that time sufficient to define completely what you have set out to achieve, but it could be a pointer to what to expect in the days ahead. And so it has become a very important yardstick. And I will say that it has been a busy period for me. When we came in, I was stepping into the shoes of a predecessor who had done so much for ANAN in a very short time. Like this entire building where we are now was acquired under his watch, my predecessor, and under his watch, ANAN was licensed to run. I came in barely how many months after the license. That's what fallen on me to ensure that this university takes off on a good footing. So I had my work cut out for me. And over this period, we have done quite a lot. These first months, let's go first begin with the university issue. We have tried to give the university a firm footing for takeoff. Provided the funds, provided the support, right, this resources enable us run a university. But beyond that, you see, the university was midwifed. That's the Nigeria College of Accountancy, which we are authorized under our laws to run. I usually say self-regulating because talked about the college, and over the period of 40 years, it has been one great success story. The college has provided much of the backing for what we're doing in ANAN, trained the personnel, provided the funds for, and given a brand image that is very peculiar. In fact, someone said that the collegiate system of training is an accountancy globally. Not want the college. It would be unwise to sacrifice a 40-year success story on the altar of a new venture. You know how well it's going to do. So we have decided to handle the two, to carry them along, and that's one area where we are experiencing quite a lot of activity. Like in the past, within the month of my of a new admin building for the college, we decided to shift the college out from where it was. It was actually the site of the college that gave birth to the university, and the two cannot coexist on the same set of facilities, or else we'll run into problems with the regulating authorities. So the college had to shift on a separate, over 40 hectares of virgin land beside the university. That's what the college is thinking of. So we've already commissioned an admin building, and we are hopeful that before it runs out, the next 3-4 months, we have an imposing admin building, 3 floors there. That is a complex structure with 2 lifts and multiple offices. We're also constructing a new gate into the college. A fence for clear demarcation of the 2 facilities, so that you will know that where the thing. So we've also gone further to strengthen the fiber of what we're doing as a professional body. When we came in initially with the COVID hangover of the COVID period, we go on with our mandatory curriculum program, core of ANAN. 2 things have sustained ANAN in the past years: the and our MCPD program, mandatory continuing professional development, a program we started in 1996 under Baba Odumeru, blessed memory, Dr. J.K. Odumeru. So that's we're already in of the COVID era. We needed to organize. Happily, just a few weeks ago, barely 2 weeks ago, we had our MCP program here in Abuja, and it was a roaring success. Well, I don't think since I joined ANAN we've ever seen anything quite like that. The attendance was just marvelous. So that provided us with a core. Right now, as we're here, our branches are holding a retreat. We are scheduled to hold it at Jos. Then this eruption of violence in Jos over the past weekend. So we had to quickly strategize and redirected the program to those of our members. Because they had to go through just to come here, so they couldn't come again. We decided to convert it into a virtual stroke physical, a hybrid meeting, so that people can watch, partake, make contributions from their bases. So we are getting on. This morning again, I was with the CEO on our ICT readiness as a body. A couple of months ago, the International Federation of Accountants, IFAC, administered digital readiness assessment on us. and our performance was not satisfactory. So we knew that we had to do something. So I said I was declaring an emergency, so that on this issue of ICT we must break out. Already we are making quite an impact. The college appeal to reach bars across the nation, and across our nation, so that members can apply from outside Nigeria, apply online, registered online, exams online. We're driving.
They receive their certificates online too.
Definitely, you can. Why not? Because we are saying we are coming to that position. One of our twinning partners, the CPA of Ireland, we were talking with them a couple of months ago, and I listened to their CEO talk, and he said they had come to a point where they had virtually completely digitalized their operations. Can you imagine a chief executive officer who said he went to his office only once in a month? And only one person was at a particular point in time. Yet nothing was left undone. And so I said, what is their secret? That's one of the things we want to get at, so that we will be in the vanguard of what is happening in these times. That's one of the points we are also driving, we are working on. So I don't want to go into the issues of what we are doing concerning our staff, because immediately I came in, one of the things I did was I set up I called it a committee on establishment matters. I discovered that there was of disenchantment with certain things about the way operations were going on. So go round. Would complete for 8 years, no problem. Some people came in, 2 years they have been promoted, after another 2 years promoted. I hate injustice. And anywhere I see injustice beckons on me. So I had to step in, set up, look through all of it. The report is ready. And I was just telling the secretary of that committee that the white paper on the committee report must be out. Know where they stand. In other words, deal with people fairly and then mobilize them to contribute their best. We are also beginning to open up we were in a very imposing house, freehold. It wasn't a matter of it wasn't a rented apartment. Then we suddenly to Abuja, where we were renting an office at a Bank of Agriculture, 6th floor. That's where we just rented the entire 6th floor. Then, as God will have it, under Professor Mainoma, we obtained this place. We acquired this place, so we now moved to this place. We acquired this property. But what do you do with Lagos? An imposing built from the scratch of our own efforts. And so we came to the conclusion that we need to have regional offices. If we are going to take the profession to the people, then let's have regional offices in Lagos, in Enugu, in Canon, then plus the one we have in Abuja and in Jos. With this, we will be able, and already we are implementing our 7-center examination plan. Our examinations now take place in 7 centers across the country. But that's only a first step. The next step is where individuals will stay out of their homes and take these exams under using technology. They will take exams and turn in the results. So we have a busy period. Of course, as one finance. Again, we are putting together some tools in order to reach out, to encourage people to invest in what we are doing. We're not just asking people to give us free, We're asking people to become stakeholders in what we are doing for the future of our nation. So that's what we are driving at. Again, I was just talking with the Director General of the college, Dr. Kayode Faswa. We have a corporate social responsibility in Basa local government, where there was pharmacy or clinic serving a community that had gone into so much disrepair. He sent the pictures to us. I said, what do we do? The Board of Governors. Now last week, we turned the sword to begin a new construction of a new clinic there. I don't want even to research centers in accounting in how many universities? 6, 7, 8. And we're going to add more this administration and in subsequent administration. So you can see that it's been a very busy period. I wish I could cover effectively everything we have done in the past 100 days. But we're just getting started.
So beyond this, what about the challenges that you've been facing since assumption of office? Apart from finance, you mentioned.
Very important challenge. Well, challenges. Okay, look at this. We were all geared for a retreat in Jos, and suddenly, from nowhere, crisis, and we had to reschedule at some cost, because the members were going to use the college. They were not going to pay for accommodation, and suddenly it no longer works. Hire one of them. They did not plan to pay for accommodation, so they didn't have the money. So we bear it, and this is at a time we're already complaining that we are cash strapped. And back in the east too, I problem with all the announcements they make. Suddenly, you don't go out at certain times of and this professional body. I go to my base in the east. I come here. Suddenly, it's disrupted by movements. But then it is the reality of the times in which we are in. How I wish we'll have a governance structure where nobody will have cause to complain, and we will meet everybody's needs and fulfill everybody's desire. But that may be something that dwells in the realm of. So I think that's a little bit of there may be more challenges again. Some individuals. I was telling them today when I was addressing the branches, I said, please, I will make mistakes. And I said, I won't make excuses for myself. I will make mistakes. I may offend people. But I want you to know that it's not because I want to offend people. I mean well, but that I will definitely make mistakes. I am apologizing ahead of time before the mistakes happen.
Okay, sir. You are personality in the forensic investigation. What extent have you gone in achieving this initiative?
Reminding me, I told you that there's no way I can remember everything we've done. We birthed forensic, a body on forensic accounting and fraud prevention. When we started, we decided to go beyond the ordinary forensic. We said, accounting, fraud management. Because if you are just stopping with forensic accounting, you now narrow it only to accountants. But with fraud management, criminologists, police investigators, all kinds of people can come under that, to fight fraud. So that's what we started to work on. Give you the background. We wanted initially to bring the College of Fraud Examiners US to come and we take their exams and be certified by them. And they said no way that they will source patients, that you must come to them, be taught by them, examined by them, and prepared by them. So we knew that was not a good, that was a no-go area. What do we then do? One of our members, Dr. Abuchu, he originated this idea. But we are these things. Why don't we replicate what they do there here? And so we started. Where do we get a forensic toolkit lab? There was no. So he went and went to a computer lab in Jos and reconfigured them to suit forensic preparation. And then the first set of brought out from that place, like people in the surgery, I mean in the theater doing operations. There's a lot of things that took them to the courts for training, because at times EFCC, ICPC, they carry out extensive investigation, discover fraud, but they can't prosecute it because there are rules of evidence you must observe. And so we said it's not enough to just be accountants. It's not enough to crime. You must prepare for the court. So we introduced the moot court trial. The deputy director of the legal law school graciously at the moot court trial here at Kefi set up a court, learned how to package your what you've done for the courts, and we've come quite some long way. And then gradually we pioneer chairman of the board of trustees for forensic training body. The time came that a presidency of ANAN had to step, handed over. The new person is Dr. Elias Sugeshimbaki. He became the new and then this it took a different turn. He's now the Chartered Institute of Forensics and Fraud Examiners, and with an exco, he's now the president, vice president, and all that. So he's there. In this past, within my 100 days in office, we gave them a strong support to go ahead with what they are trying to set up. A forensic academy. Here, forensic academy is where you have the forensic toolkits lab, where you have training in different aspects of forensic work, fingerprinting, recovery of data from charged documents, and things like that. Set up a forensic, train people in that area, and they even acquired property to that effect here in Abuja. So they're working. Guaranteed a loan they took from the bank, 200 million. Not a, but is an indication of how much we support what they're doing. We are putting our money where we thought. So the forensic issue, we're now raising it because that's one of the major banes of this nation. Corruption, fraud. Everybody condemns for corruption, yet it continues to thrive. I asked the question, it down, it bounces up. Everybody is condemning it, yet it's thriving. Go to the church, is there. Go to the mosque, is there. Go to the office, is there. But there was this anti-corruption agency that was being set up by some individuals to fight corruption. And before you could say Jack Robinson, they were already fighting among themselves how to loot what they had collected. Meanwhile, they're supposed to fight corruption. So, where do you get it there? Try to do and that someday. I think we will get it. We'll get it.
Well, you have a solution to corruption?
I'm not saying that you have there's a lock we will, turn, or a button we can press and corruption will appear. It won't. But it has to. You see, one of the reasons why corruption thrives is that the deterrent factor is not working. When you see people go to jail for doing what is wrong, when you see people punished for offending the laws of, people will learn. There's a way the Bible puts it. It says, because the judgment sin is expeditiously executed, the children of men will never learn to live rightly. until you implement what has been. And then once it comes to the law, you remember that this is my brother. Your brother is not wrong. If you know the one, so I think it was Professor Patrice Lumumba of Kenya that told a very funny story. It was in a man who got a job in the United Nations and was sacked for embezzling money. The day he arrived in Kampala, they were cheering him that he not only stole it, and they held him. If we held them, how do we stop the thing from happening? But if somebody discovers that he does certain things, society looks down on it, the church looks down on it, everybody turns their back on it, it will end. But so long as we enjoy the roots and the largesse that comes from it, there's no way corruption will end.
So let's forensic now, who do you think that should be trained to make it work?
Primarily accountants. Like I said, not only accountants but others. You see, why I say primarily, there's no way you can embezzle funds in an organization without teaming up with the accountant. If a principal wants to embezzle the school funds, he will make friends with the bursar. On him, just keep appointing who is the accountant general, somebody they like. And if they hear that you're very principled and very I know a lady in one of the southeast states, the governor called and said, look, I like you, I would have given you this job. Too much. Your principles are very unbending, so I cannot appoint you. I did not appoint her, and that was the end of it. She was next in line. We made that, given that. So, if the people who ought to be in the know are put there, I think to some extent we'll begin to apply the brakes in some of these things.
Yeah, coming.
Yes.
Adding together with the university and others, how do you think people from different zones going to benefit writing the having their without being a security movements from one place to the other? Do you think there are other ways you need to have to it?
Interface we had the CPA of Ireland. One of the things that caught my attention was that they said they run a using technology and they invigilate using. There are members, Professor Adebayo Adejola. He's the White Knight Consult. He's into. He has a setup that makes it possible for us to administer that type of exams without any problems. You'll be allowed to write it in your father's house.
So how long will it
but the software itself will police you.
How long will it take us to get it in ANAN?
We're already working on it. Talk to council, talk to the committee. They bought the idea because we want to get to a point that all these and you see they designed it. And he examined 3 parts. The first part is like a multiple objective type. You answer, and after the answering, the result is generated immediately. That may be about. Then the last studies, ones we must meet and back. Now, all these you sit or the exams, and there is a breadth. The software monitors you. You turn of the scope of the so yes, it will tell you too far. It gives you a query, and if it requires, yes, you are monitored, not by a human being. So, and whatever you do, somebody out there is taking notes.
that this will stop leakage of
it will.
exam practices and questions.
It will. But one of the things we have always said all my life is that the integrity of your exams determines the respectability of your profession or organization. So we don't joke with that.
Okay, with this now, I want to know, are you going to bring private organization, private sector into ANAN? Is that possible for you?
To bring her, what do you mean by
Private sector.
private sector? We're already reaching out to private sector. We're already working with them. You see, the thing is this: I can start had a charter in 1965. We had our own in 1990. Our almost difference. So that has given them a head start. We're not competing with them. In fact, we've always said it, and I say it without any equivocation, that ICANN is our elder brother. And we have no problems with them. The only problem we have is when the elder brother says he doesn't want the younger brother. That's where we quarrel. And when they became members of ICANN, and at times they come back with a chip on their shoulder, giving them a monopoly accounting knowledge. But I asked one of them, say, so because you are now an ICANN member, you know more accounting than I do? And he says, sir, you are making it personal. That's what it is. That's what it is. So we are not in any way quarreling with any of these things. All we are saying is, we grow together and make them part for the betterment of our nation. How many accountants do we have in this? If every registered business outfit has one accountant, Nigeria would need over 400,000 accountants. Between ANAN and ICANN, we don't even have up to how many? 40, or maybe we don't have to 100. So that's a serious shortfall. So that we train them. Our orientation is to make sure that the people are well trained before we come in. We don't go to entrain our students houses. No. We design it, we set the curriculum, we tell them what we want, and we try to build those into them. And when we examine them, we hold them responsible for those things.
Speaking on that, it regards the no competition between ICANN and ANAN.
Yeah.
How would you convince, because there's still these grounds among people, accountants who want to take a professional course, how would you convince someone who's already had a pre-planned mind that ICANN is higher? What are the catch? What to draw ANAN professional course instead of ICANN? Going with the fact that you have said you people are not in the competition, that you still regard ANAN, ICANN as your senior brother.
Yes. How I even wanted to, when we were asking about taking the private sector into ANAN, and I said private sector is up as much as, you see, on the day we were given the IFAC recognition, the president of IFAC declared that we, ANAN, to be the leading BAO in management. It doesn't mean that we're in private sector. So when the student faces this choice, where do I go to? ICANN or ANAN? What we do, in fact, we just had a valedictory lecture of one of our professors, and he was he's an ICANN professor. He has ICANN roots. The same university. Background. I was the same institution. Let me quote what he said. He was very, very grateful that I was in that university, and because of that, there was no battle between ICANN and ANAN. We strive to show that if you are better than me, prove it by the quality of work you're doing. I remember I brought in once a fellow of ICANN, to come and teach a very technical course in my department when I was a head of department, and he could not handle. If I give the page, they didn't want to teach them anymore. But he was a fellow. So there are good accountants and there are bad accountants, both in ANAN and is get the for our people. So and I can seem to dominate in the private sector. ANAN seems to dominate in the public sector. But we are catching up. Let me tell you why we are catching up. When we started, the people didn't know that we could go as far as we have gone. I used to say that when I started, they said ANAN will destroy standards, will bastardize standards. But today, ANAN has redefined standards. I have this responsibility to encourage, to develop accounting in a number of African countries. Is it Botswana? We are helping them and exporting our brand of training for them. When we went to Marrakesh, Morocco, for the ACOA, African Congress of Accountants, when the Director General, like Dr. Kayode, talked about what we were doing in the college, one of us stood up and made a comment. He said, by one act, over of the problems of training accountants in developing countries. We had done with college. So that's what we have to offer. But it remains for the industry and those who consume. Some may say, no, ICANN is better. Whichever one you want. You see, when ICANN started, the emphasis was not on academic qualification. It's all you need to do even with your school start. You can take foundation. After foundation, you go to intermediate. After intermediate, you go to professional. We said no. We said no. You go to the University of Polytechnic, get your HND and BSc. Even without the profession, you still survive on those qualifications. And we let you professionalize you. Can you imagine bringing over 3,000? You don't teach them anything. You will change their outlook. Because they will come from this issue. How did your teacher teach this? How did you people handle this? From comparing notes. And that's what we have done. Bring them together at the college and then groom them. So they now learn that's why they become what they have become.
The lighter notes, everybody works and has the time off, right? So what would you say you do to relax?
Actually, when I was a student, I had a very regimented life. Classroom, hostel. And when I came into the world of work, I tried to go beyond that. I bought a table tennis board, to be playing table tennis. Sometime I gave quite be exercising so that I won't be too fat. But the fat refused to go. Me, once I don't see the result in a short time, I give up and look for another option. So I used to be a very good swimmer. I abandoned that one too. But all I do now is essentially wake up in the morning, task at the work, come out, sit and watch TV, go to church, and I go and minister in church. So that's all. And I hardly ever, I wish I had the other pursuit. I work from time to time. Around and around.
And that takes me to the question of, is ANAN job affecting your family? Professor, well, you're being a professor and your wife.
Incidentally, I came in onto office on April 24th, 2020. A couple of months before, October 14, I retired from the university. You know, we retire as professors at the age of 70. So that tells you I'm not a young man. So I retired. So I'm no longer under to go to the office. My office, surrendered the key because there are things I don't do. When you leave office, leave office. Don't leave office and hold on to the thing. So the key left, and I've not gone there again since that time. And May of this year, I was I gave my valedictory lecture where my department bade me farewell, and here am I. So I don't even have to now. People ask me to deliver a talk. I refuse. You know why? I tell them that all my life I have delivered enough papers. I don't know. And the compendium, when I was students brought all my writings in the past, how many years? Even the other one. This one is a first script. Over 180 academics all over the country wrote in papers just to celebrate my retirement. It was published. That's the one they compared all my publications. They really, I was dumbfounded by what they did. Almost double the size. Produced them, and it was so heavy. And they celebrated it on the day of my valedictory address. So I have finished my writing. But that remains. That's the compendium. You can see them. These two were presented the same day. Because this one, all my writings, from my entire academic life, we gave it a title, Values and Ethics in Leadership and Governance, a Challenge. So, and these are just my writings. Then these are scripts from academics and friends across the country. So, and they call this one Governance and Professionalism in Blue. So with this I say I finished my work. So I now decided that all the time I devote to ANAN, the work of God. And when I finish, I don't know when God will call me back home, but I prepare my children. No. I say I can go anytime when God wants me to go. I have no problems with it. I have lived a life that I'm very grateful to God for. At some point, I wasn't too sure I would stay till. So when the time, I feel very grateful. It is, you have touched a very rough spot. You know, the first time I heard of challenge was about 1990. What now? I wasn't in ANAN. I wasn't in ICANN. I was just a lecturer in the university. And somebody told me and said, and I can remember, he said, we have found a formula that will finish ANAN. I said, what's that formula? He said, this Institute of Taxation. That by the time it becomes operational, that they will reduce the ANAN certificate. What? I said, I didn't know what I was saying. So I can, midwife the establishment of Charter Institute of Taxation. Initially, we were not bothered. The sense that I